You're listening to the audio portion of Workshop Wednesdays. Workshop Wednesdays is a free live discussion about topics affecting accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners. You can join the ABO group in Facebook to participate live Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Just search for ABBO in Facebook. This podcast is brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com, where you will learn, grow, and build a thriving bookkeeping practice. We have hundreds of lessons with almost every aspect of the industry. Start your free month today at Schoolofbookkeeping.com.
David.
Oh, it's working now.
Yeah, it is working.
I tweeted about it, and now it's on track.
That's right. If you disturb David, that's all we had to do. Is you just had to check Twitter.
I piled onto the Twitter thread, and now Zoom fixed it like that. Because somebody else is experiencing the same problem of not being able to stream.
Talk about some clout.
Yeah, Zoom got it done.
You fixed Twitter. I mean, you fixed Facebook Live. So Apologize for the delay in getting the feed, but apparently Zoom and Facebook Live were not working well together. Always a challenge when we try to do these events. We never know what we're going to expect. And if you were expecting to see Carrie today, well, you're sadly mistaken. Carrie's actually on vacation, and it's her daughter's 21st birthday on Cinco de Mayo. So there has got to be some
party.
Yeah. if there's a reason to drink Corona or, well, Dos Equis, we'll go with Dos Equis because of the pandemic. But welcome to another Workshop Wednesday. Our workshop today is going to be centered around Melio and how you can save some of the funds, keep some of the money for yourself, because as you may or may not know, QuickBooks Payments has now forced or changed their fee structure for all accounts using ACH bank transfers. So the deal is that ACH used to be free when setting up bank transfers in QuickBooks Online, but the flip side of that coin is that it would be five days to get your money, right? And so a lot of people thought, okay, well that's fine, I'll wait for the funds to arrive, but now with I think every money transfer, and maybe David, you could speak to this a little bit, but every money transfer service wants to offer to be able to have the funds available like right away, to increase your cash flow, next day funding, 2-day funding, instant access.
Yeah. Everything's about as fast as possible. Yeah,
right. Like every time I get a request for receipt of payment from, other companies are like, hey, if you want to get faster,
even on personal, right? Even on if you use it personally in Venmo, right? Or PayPal, the offer is there. I want it faster.
Yeah. Right. If you need that yesterday, we can facilitate that for a small fee. Right. So, Intuit has lowered the funding status, but now that comes at a charge. And if you want it even faster, then that's an additional charge to get it get instant access. So nothing causes ire in accountants' minds than increasing the fees of transactions. So I wanted to have David come on the workshop today, not filling in for Carrie, but he had posted about a month. Was that about a month ago?
About first week of April. Yeah. And it was actually something I was meaning to write for a long time, like an FAQ. And I finally, when everything exploded and I was like, all right, I need to really sit down. And I went to a coffee shop, sat there for 4 hours and wrote this FAQ on how to do this for free in Melio, basically. Right.
Now, so some of the people, some people don't know who Melio is. So let's take a step back and talk about Melio. I mean, you've got it all behind you in the virtual background there, and you're wearing it. What is Melio? And just talk a little bit about the company or the app itself.
Yeah, let me share because I think there's a couple of visuals that'll kind of help a little bit. I can,
Okay.
I lost Zoom.
And while you're bringing that up, let's talk about you, David. You have a QuickBooks resume as long as your arm. You have some pretty long arms.
Yeah, I mean, I worked back into it, right? I was into it almost 22 years, all QuickBooks. I started tech support for like the QuickBooks 4.0 Windows product, and then I was also I get second into DOS 2.0 product too. So basically every QuickBooks existed, I've probably touched or breathed on or influenced, and had a lot to do with it. And then those last 6 years, I started to spend all the add-on apps. So apps like Melio and receipt banks, and auto entry, T-sheets, like helping those apps and hub come into our world. And understand accountants, integrate with QuickBooks properly, get exposed to our accountants that are out there. I'm going to try to share again here. I'm going to share just a slide there. All right. How's that?
Here, it's coming into focus. I see it.
Got it. Perfect. So we'll skip this slide here. I'll go to the next one. And this is a teeny small, like 5-minute deck, but there's a couple of visuals that are kind of important for people that don't know. We just briefly talked about me. The only other couple of things is I co-host the Cloud Accounting Podcast. So if you're looking to stay on top of like all the weekly news and tech that's in our industry, definitely tune into that. After I left Intuit, I did start my own company. And two major aha moments for me in that. One was, if I think about my career, it was always in theory. Like, oh, in theory, you can connect all these apps and the data is going to magically go from an app and get into your QuickBooks. So when I started my own company, I opened a bank account, I got my debit card. The first thing I did is I went and bought business cards on Moo, right? So I charged using my debit card, the business cards. I got an email receipt. I took the email receipt, I sent it to auto entry scanned it, put it into my QuickBooks Online, download the bank feed, and it all matched up. And I was jumping up and down in my kitchen. I was like, this is amazing. This stuff really works. Like when it's something real, right? It's just different. Yeah. It's just different. And then the second big learning, because things are real now, if I look at like when I was helping other testing apps, or even when I was in quality assurance, or even in tech support, you're just creating fake transactions, like fake vendor. Like when I do the demo today, I'll be calling things like fake vendor, right? Things like that. And it's all fake. And what happened? And so if an app messed up my QuickBooks, I didn't really care. But when I had my own company and that messed up my QuickBooks, I lost my mind. Like that's the end of that app. And so now I have this new level of empathy with accountants and bookkeepers, right? Because I know what it's like for you guys now when an app screws up your client's QuickBooks data. And so it's just two major aha moments of being a business owner now. I was at Auto Entry. Auto Entry got acquired by Sage. I didn't like leave a big, huge company to work at another big, huge company. And about the time I was discovering Melio for the podcast, Melio found me. And so I joined about last January, I joined the Melio, and I've been there since. Really my role there is to, at one level, be very outbound, like, oh, Melio is so great, come use Melio. But the more important part of my role is to really go to our internal teams, our product managers, our founders, our marketing teams, our sales support teams, and make sure everybody understands how important accountants and bookkeepers are, so we build the right stuff, right? And that's like the more important, because I don't have to sell Melio to accountants and bookkeepers, but if I make Melio do what it needs to do, it'll sell itself. Like I don't have to do a lot of that. And actually, I'm going to move this over here.
And that brings up a good point that, for accountants and bookkeepers with, what we're going to be talking about here today, whether you use Melio or not, you want to have this knowledge so that you can actually speak to it because of how integrated this service or this offering is inside of QuickBooks Online. It's something you want to be familiar with, right?
Yeah, because I mean, you ultimately, like it or not, your clients are probably going to be touching or using Melio because it's so deeply integrated in QuickBooks. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, you want to beat your clients to the punch. Like you want to know Melio, you want to understand it. So when they ask you questions, you're very aware. One thing we do is everybody that comes on the Melio accountants team has to become certified in QuickBooks. So when you reach out to the accountants team, you're going to talk to that dedicated sales and support team. They've all been certified in QuickBooks. You can do chat right inside of Melio to talk to the accountants team. You can actually email us at accountants@melio.com, and you have a home, right? Like melio.com/accountants. You always have a home at Melio. Some people ask about the name. The easiest way to think about this is just Melio equals better. That's probably the easiest way to think about the word Melio, where it comes from. And so what is Melio? Short answer is it's just super easy to use, business to business, payments and receivables. So if you think, when I say easy, think Venmo, think PayPal, think Zelle. Like all that's for peer-to-peer. You can't really use it for business, right? So our founders are actually
you're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to. I think some of those apps now are offering business services, but their fees are kind of high, and the business stuff is like 5, 6, 7 days, some of them, right, for the deposits.
Right, and I think that's why a lot of people will use those services, because they'll go with the friends and family option to avoid said fees.
Yes, a lot of people will do those, and we've talked about that, I think, before. But our founders were at PayPal when PayPal bought Venmo, and so when they left, they started Melio. And you'll see a lot of things from Venmo come over to Melio. So if you use Venmo, it's super easy to use. Melio, super easy to use. You've used Venmo. So in Venmo, the basic money transfers are free. If I send you money, it's free. If you want the money instantly, there's a fee, right? So anything special, there's fees for. Same thing in Melio. The basic fundamental payment, ACH to ACH or ACH to paper check, one business paying another is 100% free. But anything special, there's a fee for. If you want an instant payment, instant on debit card, pay by a credit card, deposit to a debit card. If you want us to deliver a box of cash, right? Anything special, there's fees for. But if it's just the basic money payments, it's free. And then the third piece is picking and choosing how you want to pay and how you get paid. So Dan, if I pay you on Venmo, you don't care if I use my Venmo balance, my checking account, my credit card, you just don't care. And same thing when I pay you, I don't really care what you do with it either. If you deposit in your checking account, if you do an instant deposit, if you just leave it in your Venmo balance, the same thing with Melio. As a business owner, I can pick how I want to pay with my credit card, personal credit card, debit card, checking account, it doesn't matter. And you being the business receiving can choose, I want a paper check, I want an ACH, I want an instant deposit on my debit card. So that crisscross from Venmo exists in Melio as well. And so really, who is it for? Quickly kind of go through this. If you think about the free and easy options, and I put ish because they're not really free, right? There's an expense for the bank website. There's expenses with paper checks, right? And then the expensive and complex. So this is your software. You need 5 approvers to get a bill payment out the door, right? For a lot of pro advisors, though, and a lot of accountants and bookkeepers, most of their clients are over here on the left, right? And sure, there's some clients you have that need multiple approver type level stuff, but most of it are to the left. And so what happens is it's kind of left a gap in the market, right? Because you as an accountant or bookkeeper, you probably have clients that you can't justify the cost of that expensive and complex software. So you've just been telling them for the last 8 years, use the bank website, right? And I think actually, I made this slide with 90%. I think it's as high as like 97%. An accountant will have 100 clients and they'll have 97% using the bank website because they can't justify an expensive and complex solution. But because Melio is free, Melio can be the solution you put all your clients on, right?
Yeah, so
there's no more reason to use paper checks, bank website, et cetera. You can just put those on this. So you might have a client that needs 25 approvers to get a bill payment out the door. That's not the right fit. Put them on that expensive and complex solution. But Melio is really going to be the thing for everybody else, right? You finally can offer a solution out instead of just telling people, we'll deal with the bank website. Nobody wants to tell a client that, right? Now you can wow them with Melio.
Yeah, so then you lose insight into the bill payment process. Like if you don't have access as an accountant into their process,
and it's not secure, right? You're having to get their logins at the bank. It's just there's a lot of reasons not to do that. So it's pretty straightforward. You add a bill. The best way is just put it into QuickBooks. You pay with a credit card or bank account, and then vendor gets to choose how they want to be paid. It's pretty straightforward. And again, like there's no cost, right? As I said, anything special there's fees for, paying by credit card, instant payments, et cetera. But in general, there's no fees to use Melio.
I think that is probably the toughest thing for people to grasp. I think when they're introduced to it, like, well, how do you guys make money if there's no fees, right?
And it's the special stuff, right? That's how we make money. If somebody wants to FedEx a paper check, there's a special fee for that. If they want to do an instant deposit through their debit card, special fee for that. Like everything specials, there's a fee for. So it's not 100% free. But the basic tenet, the belief that businesses should be able to pay each other for free, that will always be there, right?
Yeah.
That is a founding tenet of Melio. So I'm going to escape out of this deck because everybody gets Melio gets an accountant's dashboard. And you'll see me in the accountant's dashboard. So I'm going to put my accountant's hat on here in a moment. Screen sharing is stopped. Okay.
Figuratively hat, because you won't fit over the headset.
Yes, exactly. I had to pull this out and put this on quickly.
And so another caveat or thing to grasp is the two different flavors of Melio, and you guys just utilize those as colors, so green versus purple, and that's something for accountants and bookkeepers to keep in mind, that there are just the distinction between the two.
So there's the QuickBooks Online Bill Pay that's powered by Melio. That's just a lot of words to say, so it's easy to say green Melio. It's just easier. And then purple Melio is all the Melio that's purple, right? Now, the nice thing is it's the same product. It's the same train track. So if the work you do in one shows up in the other and vice versa. It's not where you have some clients in product A, some clients in product B, and you're always dancing and you don't know which clients and which product. They all show up in the same product. They all show up in your dashboard. They're all connected to you. Like, you don't have to play a lot of that dance in that game. And the nice thing is you as the accountant or bookkeeper can dance between the two, right? Whatever's convenient, but then you can solve for your clients. You might have a client that has an in-house accounts payable clerk. You just set them all up, connect all the pipes, let them do everything in QuickBooks. You might have another client that you're doing the bill pay for, and they just need to do approvals, a basic level of approvals. Maybe you do that in purple, right? You get to decide where you want to work and what's right for each individual client on that. But we should get into kind of the meat of why we're here, right? Which is ACH fees.
Right. So how does an accountant avoid ACH fees using Melio? That's the crux of our workshop today.
And what I've done is I actually created an FAQ. And it's a little bit of a workaround. So it's one of those, it's not the perfect solution, right? It's definitely, I think you said it best, the workarounds involve work. I think you said that when we talked earlier today, workarounds involve work, but it gets you to the same endpoint, because ultimately you probably have an authorization form with your clients. They've already given you their ACH numbers. You probably have those written down somewhere on some sort of authorization form. Right. And so if you have that, you can actually add your client to Melio, put in the bank account information, pay yourself through Melio, and then the owner doesn't really have to even be involved if you don't want the owner to be involved, which gets you to the exact same spot in the end. So it's a little bit of a workaround to get you exactly where you want to be, which is I can automatically have my clients pay me through Melio into my bank account. Right, and it gets you there. So let me share again, and I'm going to share my whole screen now. Let's see.
And then as far as the setup is concerned, once it is set up, like once you've gone through this FAQ or this workflow, it would be set it, forget it. It would be automated to a degree.
Yes, and what I'll show you in this, that there's actually an option at the end, depending on how much control and automation you kind of would like to have in this. Share my whole screen. Share. Everybody should be able to see the kind of the screen split between a left and a right. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the left is the FAQ. Okay. And the right is Melio. So I'll be able to, as we walk through, I'll do stuff in Melio, but we can see kind of where we are in the FAQ.
I assumed it was because you were like right in the middle of ta-da.
When I saw the camera light go off first, I was like, how did that happen? And then I was like, I've lost all internet. Okay. These are back going here again. We'll start this. So did you see me click the new client button on the dashboard?
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
All right.
You were showing your
I got so excited.
You were showing the FAQ. So the FAQ side right now is actually looking at the Zoom meetings. Close that.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So you're over here. So first I said you had to add your firm to Melio, right? Once you add your firm to Melio, you get a client's dashboard that I have here. I'm gonna hide my video because it's just hanging over my face here. All right, so okay, and you get a dashboard like this, and on the dashboard you have a new client button. So then you have to add your clients to your dashboard, because if you can't add your clients, you can't do this work, right? This workaround. So I'm going to hit new client button. It's really, really straightforward. I'm going to hit new client. I'm going to hit Dan's business. And we have businesses. You can never type when I'm live. Never can type.
Right.
Dan@dan.com. Do you own that? You should. Get that.
No, it's somebody else owns it. It's actually a registrar right now, so it's like a GoDaddy thing. So I can't.
So I'm going to connect it. If I had QuickBooks and I had Dan's file, if I was the admin, I could say yes, connect their QuickBooks. If I say no, I'm going to have to put a bunch of other information about Dan's business in for right now. So I'm going to just say no temporarily because I don't have Dan's QuickBooks file to connect through QuickBooks, but that's the easiest way to get them on their dashboard. So Dan, I'm just going to make up a number. Continue. Remember, I talked about test data, right? You just make it up.
Right.
All right. Where do you want to live? Let's see. North Swan Road. How's that work? Birth, continue.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We don't care about the
millions.
It does. Millions. Okay, we're going to skip adding your bank account for right now. And see, so this is where I can choose to invite you to the Melio account or not, right? Mm-hmm. At this time, I don't need you to approve my payments. We have authorization. I'm just going to say not now. So I'm not going to invite you, the business owner, to Melio. Got it all set. I'm going to say get started.
Now, would this be something that should be done before they opt into anything, or is that just like fresh snow that you're talking about here? They've never touched Melio inside of QuickBooks Online.
So what we'll do is when you first put in their email address or connect them to QuickBooks, we check and see if they've already touched Melio and bring them into your dashboard.
Got it.
Yeah. So
and we're looking. Of course, you wouldn't have to invite them if they've already set it up.
Yeah, it actually goes the other way. It's kind of similar to QuickBooks Online Accountant, how like you can invite your client or the client can invite you.
Gotcha.
So what would happen is if it detected your business already in Melio because you're in QuickBooks or who knows, it just detected you, it would actually pause me and send you an email. Hey, David Leary's accounting company just added you to their dashboard. Are you there? Do you want to authorize this? Yeah. And then you would say yes, no, right? And so basically it would just be pending. Like this would be a pending business. I couldn't touch or use. So I'm going to add all my clients to my dashboard. So right now I have this fake small business client. I got your client. I have my real company. So this is my accounting firm, my bookkeeping firm. Mm-hmm. And then I have my real company. And that's what I'm going to use as for my demo here. All right. So now we've added our clients. There's a video in this FAQ on how to add clients. It's very, very easy to do. Pretty straightforward. So now just kind of before we go click by click on these things, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to create a bill in QuickBooks Online, have it sync to Melio. So once it syncs, now my vendor's there, right? The bill is there. And so this would be just kind of the very next payment or bill, right? So it's maybe I bill weekly. It's the accounting services I'm going to bill for this week. And I'm going to create a bill in QuickBooks. Then after I add that in, I'm going to go to that company and add my my ACH information in so I can be paid. Right? Mm-hmm. Then after I add that, I'm going to add for my clients. In my case, my client already added their bank account information, but I'm going to add the client's bank account information. So that way I have a bill to pay, and I'm going to pay that first bill. And then I would probably, and we're not going to be able to do this in demo, but then I would wait a few days because we want to make sure all the bank account stuff is moving and arriving properly, right? Because people mistype account numbers. There's lots of things that could go wrong. So I do the first one and I wait. Then when it's done, then I can get into the two possible options, and we'll discuss those in a moment on how to automate this. Because the one way is to automate it 100% on the Melio side. And another option is to do a recurring transaction in QuickBooks Online. So it just creates the bill automatically, but then you manually choose to pay it,
Got it.
Depending on how you want to handle that. So,
and I think the other challenge, I think, like when I first saw your FAQ, I was like, wait a minute, why are you doing bill payments to receive money? But of course, from that perspective, it's a bill to your client, so that's why. That's essentially what you're doing. And you're receiving the money.
Exactly. Essentially, what you're doing in this workaround is you're having the clients pay you automatically every month. So it's not an auto withdraw type situation. It's more of an auto pay to you situation. It gets you to the same place in the end though, right? Because really what you want is you want your clients to pay you every week or every month, some fixed amount. It gets you to the same spot. So what we'll do now that we've added the client, let's do step 3. So we're going to go to each the client's QuickBooks files. And for us, we're just going to do this all with Sombrero Apps Company. And I'm going to switch. Oh, come on, Zoom. I can't get to my browser tab. All right, now I can get to my browser tab. There we go. And of course, I got signed out when everything conked. Give me a moment. Oops, it's wrong.
It's worked perfectly in rehearsal.
Oh, it's. I mean, the problem is you have to have an active internet connection or things don't like to stay connected. All right, there you go. All right, so I'm going to go to my client, Sombrero Apps. You guys all know QuickBooks, no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do a new bill. This is why I like to always just fake it all with slide decks. Sometimes it's hard to do real,
right.
But I really wanted to walk through this FAQ, right? And really show it. So if it new, okay, got it. All right. So I'm going to add my firm, assuming I haven't added it yet, as a vendor, right, in my client's file. So I'm going to do all right. So there's my firm, Sombrero app. Okay, QuickBooks, what are you doing there? Go save. All right, save my new vendor. So I've saved my vendor. I'll put in my category, professional fees. All right, weekly bookkeeping fee. Okay, we get it. Stop trying to spell check things. All right, so no, I just charge $125 a week for my weekly bookkeeping fees. Right.
Sure.
All right, so I'm charging this. I'm going to go ahead and just do a save and save this bill. Okay, and then I'm going to switch back over to Melio and just sync my data. So we go into Sombrero Apps Company. So this is my client. So I was in my client's QuickBooks, created a bill for my accounting firm. I'm going to go into my Sombrero Apps Company. That's my client. I'm going to just get it to sync here quickly. Sync with QuickBooks, kick off a quick manual sync now. It's never fast enough in a demo.
Normally this synchronization would happen within minutes.
Yeah,
but
we use the web
you're
hooks,
doing it. Yeah, you're doing it just for the purposes of the demo to get this to pull in faster than that.
Yeah, very rarely are you going to go create it in QuickBooks and race over to Melio, then back to you're going to do some stuff in QuickBooks, get a cup of coffee, come back to boom, it's a Melio, and you just move on. So now the bill I created is here. So now I've created that bill, it is here, and now that takes care of step 3, right? I clicked, I even said, click the sync now button. So I even told people to do that. Click the sync now button in the pay tab inbox, your bill's showing up. So now this is the bill I created for legal and professional services. So now what I want to do is I want to go add my ACH info, because when the small business pays this bill, I want to go to my bank account, right? So I'm going to go to contacts, I'm going to go to vendors and find me or my firm. I guess I should just search. It's faster to type letter S here. There we go. So now I'm on my firm. So just like I said here, I added my firm as the vendor. And now I'm going to click on add a payment method. So I want this to be a bank ACH method.
Got it.
I'm going to type in my numbers here. Make up some numbers. I would actually use real numbers in the future.
But then all of a sudden, your bank account's empty after showing it.
How many do I need for the routing? Is it 9 digits?
I think it's 8 or 9. 9-digit routing number.
4. It should be 9 there, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'll type in a real routing number. Give me 1 second. All right, 041 215 663. And you won't have, I won't put a real account number in, save bank details.
No, you don't want that.
Well, it's going to be on YouTube, and then, yeah. It's a little dangerous to do stuff like that. Okay, so now, if I look now, my Sombrero app bookkeeping and accounting, now my bank account is in here. So now when they go to pay me, the money has someplace to go.
Right.
Okay.
Does it need to verify the account, or does it matter? Like,
not for somebody getting paid, no, because it's going to deposit into this account, right? So they don't need to do that at all. Okay, so that's step 4. We're going to add my firm's ACH info. So basically, I had no ACH info, and now I have ACH info added in, right? And they save the bank details. So now in my client's files, I need to add the client's bank account so they can pay me, right? So I already have that in. So on this client, if I go, I go to settings and I go to payment methods, I already added my checking accounts. I've added checking accounts to debit cards, my QuickBooks Cash Card. I have personal credit cards. I have virtual credit cards here. I've, all the different ways you could possibly pay a bill. I've added them all to Melio, so they're all in here. If not, and it's the first time you're setting up the client, if you add their bank account, you might have to. Everybody's done that. The 2 days of like micro deposits, you got to verify the deposit, right? Or you could connect their debit card and they get it set up instantly. So there's a couple options you have to do this. So for our case, I'm just going to use the checking account of this client to pay me and my firm. So that's step 5. So we added the ACH info for this bank account. It's been added in. And so now in step 6, we're going to pay us. Whoops, I clicked clients. I didn't mean to do that. I want to go to pay. And so now we have this bill for our firm. We're not automating anything yet. We just want to get the first one out and make sure it works. So we're going to schedule this bill payment. We're going to choose that checking account. Oh, sorry, I have so many payment methods. I just couldn't see the continue button. I was like, what's it doing?
There's nothing going on.
Okay. And in this case, I'm just going to do a normal ACH 3 days business transfer, right? I'm not going to do same day deliver or anything like that. So I'm going to hit continue.
Is there a limit to the amount of money that could be moved in one transaction or
if it's over $100,000, it actually takes 4 business days. There's an extra day delay of risk review and that type of stuff. I think on the same day delivery, some of the limits on that are depending on how you're paying. I think some debit cards have limits of $3,200 and smaller limits. Some credit cards have limits. It all depends on your method of payment and whether or not you can do fast and what that speed would be.
Got it.
For those other payment methods. So I'm just do a normal payment. I'm going to leave a memo. Thanks for being a great accountant. Okay. And
Note
then
to self, literally.
So remember, I'm in the client's file. So the client is paying $125 to Sombrero Bookkeeping and Accounting, right, on this day. And it's going to transfer it to the Sombrero Bookkeeping and Accounting bank account, right? And the date will be estimated date. And again, there's no transaction fee because it's a basic ACH, which is the whole point of this whole thing, right? There's no fee, right? So there's no fee. I'm going to hit confirm and schedule payment. And now it's been scheduled, right? So I'm going to say I'm done here because I don't need to notify myself. So I'm going to say I'm done here.
You're doing it.
I'm actually doing it. And so now, oh, you know what I did? It's set as pending because I think in my company, I have approval set. So this won't go out because remember we talked about if you don't want to involve the owner, you don't have to. Unfortunately, in this company I'm doing the demo in has an owner that needs to approve, right? And so they have to approve this for it to go out the door. But essentially, after it's been approved, it goes out the door. And actually, let me just for life on my other computer here, I'm just going to quickly go in and Melio.
Prove it.
Yeah, it takes 2 seconds. Melio bills. So I'm logging in as the business owner on my other computer really quickly here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit the big purple button that says approve. Now it's done, and we'll refresh this.
The magic of the speed of light. It's apparently pretty fast.
Boom, payment's been scheduled, right? So now it's ready to go out the door. It's ready to be paid. And then this will be deducted tomorrow out of my client's bank account. 3 days later, it'll be put into my bank account. So This is where I tell everybody to pause at step 7. Like, make sure the one payment goes through. You've gotten all the pipes connected successfully. Okay,
Right.
so let's pretend it's 3 days from now, and I'm ready. This money got moved into my bank account. It's now moved into the paid column. I'm going to delete this so I don't forget, because I'm using my real bank accounts here. So I'm going to cancel this because I don't want to pay this. Yes,
you don't want to pay yourself.
Yes, cancel this payment. I'm going to delete that out. And then in QuickBooks here, I'm going to just view the bill again. So this is where you have 2 options on how you would handle this then. One option is you can be partially automated. And the way you would do that is you have this bill here. You can make it recurring, right? And you could have it get created every week, whatever it is. So every time the bill gets created in QuickBooks, it's going to sync over to Melio. So let's just pretend for sake this was a recurring transaction. Mm-hmm. Yes, leave without saving. Oops, I left the whole bill. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Okay, so let's say this was a recurring transaction, right? It would be created, and then it would appear in Melio in the inbox as a bill to pay. So the partially automated way would be is the bills just automatically get created in QuickBooks, and then every week it's going to magically, it's going to sync. It's not magic anymore, right? Syncing is not magic, right? It just does it, right? It's going to sync it to here. Once it's here, you can, at that time, choose schedule this payment and put it out the door. The other reason some people might prefer to use this route is maybe my fees fluctuate each week, and I need to change that before it gets paid, right? So this is the partially automated route, right? Which is going to be option A here in step 8. If that makes sense. Then there's the actual fully automated route, right? Where you do everything from Melio's side. So I'm going to just delete this bill out of QuickBooks. Delete. Yes. All right, so now that bill is no longer in my QuickBooks. And in a moment, it'll refresh and it should go away from my Melio as well, because if there's no bill to pay, there shouldn't be a bill in Melio to pay.
Right.
Hopefully it's synced. So it hasn't finished syncing yet. So just pretend that it will vanish here in a moment. I don't want to go hit sync yet. Okay. So now here's the option to do a fully automated. So what you'll do is in Melio itself, you'll add the bill. So I'm going to do a new payment. I'm going to add this bill manually. I'm going to enter my vendor, which is me, Melio Bookkeeping. And we're only going to do this after we know all the bank account stuff was all good, right? That's right. When we paused for this couple of days.
Yeah. Proof of concept is done. Yeah. All systems are go.
Yeah.
Then do this.
Legal professional fees. I'm going to do my $125. I'm going to do it weekly. I'm going to put a number in for today. 2021 0505. All right. And so I'm only going to do this for the next 4 weeks just to make our illustration purposes easier. The first day this is going to arrive. So we're going to, every Monday, we want that money to come out, right? And maybe we'll start on the 17th, right? Because I just did that other thing. So every Monday, and this will be monthly accounting fees. Or sorry, weekly, right? I'm doing weekly.
Yeah, right.
All right, so basically what I'm doing, I'm putting a bill into myself, but instead of putting it in the QuickBooks, I put it in Melio this time. And I set it up to automatically just happen every week. So I'm going to save and schedule a payment. I'm going to choose the checking account again. Continue. And I could have chose any of the other accounts I want. I'm going to hit continue. And again, there's no transaction fee because basically this is just an ACH to ACH transfer. There's nothing special happening here. I'm going to do confirm and schedule payment. Okay, and I'm going to say, I'm not going to notify them. Thanks, I'm done here. And so now I have a scheduled transaction. If you see, it has this little repeat thing. So every week, this transaction is going to get created. And when it gets created, it's going to take the money out of the client's bank account, move it to my bank account.
Got it.
Right. And then this
that'll show up in QuickBooks as a bill and a bill payment when that actually takes
That's
place.
correct. Well, actually, and I'll show you. This is the one downside of this method is we automatically send everything, which is not ideal. Accounting wise, it's correct. But it's a little annoying when, and you're going to see this after I sync, when we go back over to QuickBooks, we just sent 4 bills and 4 bill payments, one each week, which accounting wise is correct. But when you go to reconcile and do bank feeds, it's a little bit annoying when you do the recurring. And so that's something I'm working on to improve, because I mean, I'm under the opinion that we should just put the next one in. So you process one, put one in the future in, and sync that to QuickBooks. Okay, so now I've synced. Let me just go back over here to pay. All right, so remember our bill that got deleted, it finally went away, it's gone. And then the scheduled one's still hanging around in here, right? It's still there. All right, so now I'll go to QuickBooks and let's go to our vendors list and find that accountants. So again, I'm in the client's file still, right? And so what you'll see is all these bills are here. It didn't do the bill payment yet because I didn't approve it. Remember, I have to approve it. So what it is, it went and created a bill each week, boom, boom, boom. And then it'll create a matching bill payment each week, boom, 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 boom. So this is the way to do the fully automated. It's just some people don't like it because, it feels cluttered because all those transactions are there, but technically it's correct.
Yeah.
Right. It's a bill and it's a payment and a bill and a payment and a bill and a payment. But some people don't want to see, if I would have done 52 weeks, 52 of these in the register, essentially.
So it's just an important safety tip to note that. However, you and Melio are aware of that. It's not like you're just dealing with it in the current situation, and in a perfect world that will that may correct
eventually
itself.
My dream would be is we just send the next one, right? So it's the current one and then the next one that's scheduled, then the current one, the next one that's scheduled. So instead of in this case, it would have put the one in for the 17th. Then when the 17th is processed, now send the one to QuickBooks on the 24th. Right. But right now we just sync them all, right? It's where we're at. Unfortunately, we don't have that in. So that's essentially the whole thing. Now you can repeat the steps 2 through 8 for every single client and set this all up. But in the end, it gets you the exact same spot. I had the client's banking information. I have my own banking information. I set it all up every month. It's going to withdraw this money from their bank account, put it into my bank account. It gets you to the same spot as some of you would have had if you had like an ACH pull, right? So we're not doing ACH pull. This is just you basically making the vendors pay you, or your customers pay you. It's more of a pay or a push, not really a pull. And that's kind of the gist of it. I'll stop sharing. And I don't know if you have any questions or if anybody asks questions on the chat.
No, I don't have anything yet, but we reserve the right to tag you in any of them.
That's okay.
In the comments. And then, David, if you would post the FAQ in there, that way it's easily accessible when you can. But we're coming up on the top of the hour, and I actually have a hard stop. So, so I appreciate you coming on today and just chatting about this workaround. And I mean, it's just like you were saying, in the end, it's the same result. You're avoiding the ACH fees. It is, through the name, through the root of the word is workaround. We're on a workshop. So
Workshop Wednesdays, right? Workshop Wednesdays that we're here for. I do appreciate it. I do apologize. I mean, first we had Facebook live stream problems on your side, and then as soon as we get everything going, my internet decides to conk out. So anybody who stuck with us and wrote it out, and I think if you're watching this in the recording and you had to fast forward, we apologize for that gap. I was gone for about 2.5 minutes, but hopefully everything is here. Dan got me back on track, and it should be good.
All right. Well, again, if you have any questions for David, just put them in the comments, and we'll make sure that he gets us the right answer. And we'll see you next week on another Workshop Wednesday, where we'll be talking about the payroll migration that just was alerted this week. So hopefully you join us for that next week, and we'll see you again. I hope you have a great week.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.